Okay, everybody, back to it. We're going to talk about factoring trinomials. We've already had some practice at this, but we're going to take it a step further to be able to factor some more difficult trinomials. So here we go. Okay, first of all, we have been working on factoring trinomials in the form of x squared plus bx plus c equals 0, where there's not a number other than 1 in front of the x squared term. In order to do this, we ask ourselves, what two numbers multiplied together, or whose product is negative 15, and that's the last term, and whose sum is negative 2? Then we start figuring out what combinations do we have. Well, for 15, we can have 15 and 1, or we can have 5 and 3. Well, 15 and 1 doesn't get us anywhere. That only gets us either 14, a sum of 14 or 17, or 16. But if we use 5 and 3, and we make it a negative 5 and a positive 3, we can get that combination. Negative 5 times positive 3 is negative 15. Negative 5 plus 3 is negative 2. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to put these two things together. So we'll have x minus 5 times x plus 3 equals 0, because if we want to solve this, we're not going to solve all of them, but this is how we would solve it. Then we would either set x minus 5 equal to 0 or x plus 3 equal to 0, because that's a zero product principle. So that would give us values of x is 5 or x is minus 3. Okay, let's move on. And let's now talk about if you have a number other than 1 in front of the x squared. It makes it a little more difficult. You can do what I call the Begues and Begosh method, or you can do the factoring by regrouping, and we're going to do factoring by regrouping today. So once again, your a is not going to be a 1, it's going to be something else. So let's erase that and get a problem going here. So we have 3x squared plus 11x plus 8. This is very mechanical. You're going to do the same set of steps over and over again. You got that? You're not going to second guess anything. You're going to do this exact same set of steps. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to think about what is 3 times 8. We're going to multiply the first coefficient and the last coefficient. And we want to know what product. We have to have a product of 24, because 3 times 8 is 24. And then we're going to take a look at our middle term, which is positive 11. So we're looking for two numbers whose product is 24 and whose sum is 11. Okay. So now we have 24 and 1, 12 and 2, or 8 and 3. Well, the only one that's going to work is going to be our 8 and 3 here. And if we do positive 8 times positive 3 gives us positive 24. And 8 plus 3 gives us 11. So there we have it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at this middle term. And we want to separate this 11 into an 8 plus 3. So it's going to be 3x plus 8x. We're going to replace that. Straight replacement. And then we're going to fill in with our 3x squared plus 8. And now we have this, 3x squared plus 3x plus 8x plus 8. Now we're going to take those four terms and we're going to regroup. We're going to put the first two terms together and factor out. We're going to put the last two terms together and factor out. So we can factor out a 3x and we get x plus 1. And then we can also factor out a plus 8 and we have x plus 1 again. We're almost there. Now notice that we have an x plus 1 that happens twice. That's going to be one of our two factors. So we'll write that down as x plus 1. The other one is going to be the coefficients out in front, 3x, or the numbers out in front, 3x plus 8. So that is our answer to our first problem. So the next problem will be factor 4x squared minus 17x minus 21. All right, once again, we're going to be very mechanical about this. We're going to do the same set of steps over and over. So we ask ourselves what two numbers multiplied together are 4 times minus 21, which is minus 84, and added together are minus 17. All right, so let's take a look at the factors of 84. I have 84 and 1. Well, that's not going to do it. I have 42 and 2. Well, that would give me a 44 or a 40. That's not going to work. 28 and 3. I'm getting closer, but that still would either be 25 or 31. 21 and 4. I can make a 17 out of 21 and 4. Now I need it to be negative 84 and negative 17. So since my product is negative, I know one term will be negative and one term will be positive. And I know that the bigger term has to be negative because I want to come up with a negative 17. So that's going to be minus 21 plus 4. Okay, so now I've got my factors. Now what do I do with them? I take a look at my middle term and I replace minus 17x with minus 21x plus 4x. And then I'm going to fill in my 4x squared minus 21. Now I have my four terms. I'm going to regroup the first two and the last two. If I regroup the first two and take out an x, then I have x times 4x minus 21. And the second, I can't take anything out. I just have my 4x minus 21, but I need to put a plus 1 in front of it so that I have my second factor. So now I have one factor is going to be my 4x minus 21, and my other factor is going to be x plus 1. So my answer is x plus 1 times 4x minus 21. Let's try 3x squared minus 11x minus 4. All right, once again, I need to ask myself what two numbers multiplied together have a product of negative 12, because I have 3 times negative 4, and a sum of negative 11. Well, the factors of 12 are 12 and 1, and I can get an 11 out of that if I make the 12 negative and the 1 positive. So I'm going to make it negative 12 and positive 1. I'm going to write my first term. I'm going to separate my middle term into minus 12x plus 11x. See this right here? Or plus x, I'm sorry. And then copy down my last number. Now I can take this out of here so it's not confusing. Okay, and now I'm going to regroup my 3x squared plus or minus 12x and my x minus 4. Take out a 3x and I have 3x times x minus 4. And once again I have plus x times x minus 4. So I have my 3x plus 1 times x minus 4. Try another one. 2x squared minus 21x plus 10. That means I have to think product 2 times 10 is 20 and sum negative 21. So my factors are going to be 20 and 1. Well, there you go. We got it the first time. So since my product is going to be positive and my sum negative, I know that my two factors for 20 have to either be positive or both negative. We'll have to choose a negative in order for it to add up to negative 21. Okay, so it's negative and negative. So I have my 2x squared. I'm going to divide my minus 21x into minus 20x minus x, and then I have my plus 10. Then I'm going to regroup, take out my 2x times x minus 10. Now this is a little tricky because I have a negative there, so I'm going to have to factor out a negative 1. And when I factor out a negative 1, I'm left with x minus 10, because when I multiply negative 1, times, I'm having a hard time with this, negative 1 times negative 10, I'm back to my positive 10. So now I can put my factors together. I have 2x minus 1 and x minus 10. All right, friends, here are your checkpoints. The fourth checkpoint has a little trick to it, so be careful. The fifth one's okay, and I will see you in class. Here comes the baby. Bye, everybody.